welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. My name is Kathy. I'm the host for today. I also have Ken Demers and Josie Way co-hosting with me today. Today we're going to be speaking with Lisa Bacon. Do you go by Lisa Marie?
Yes.
Okay. So I should have probably said that before we started.
No, just Lisa's fine. That's
okay. So we have Lisa today, though. She's a medium.
Psychic medium.
Psychic medium. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to talk about with her how she got started, though, and what she does. And so how did you get started, though, with being a psychic medium, though? Did you always have it, though? Was you realized as you got older that you had it?
Yes, I was born this way. I would say at the age of 5, I really didn't know that I had the gift, but it, when I think back.
Yeah, there were signs after, yeah.
Yeah, from early childhood. I started when I was 14. I was reading for friends and family. Mm-hmm. And then it became more. It was a hobby, and now it's full-time for me. So I love what I do.
You have a studio?
Yes. Yep, I have a studio named Enlightened in West Warwick. Mm-hmm. And,
Kathy didn't mention you're also a medical intuitive.
Yes, I am a medical intuitive as well.
How did that start?
For me, it's about connecting to the energy with my client. So, and it's a visual. It's the only way I can really describe it. So, if a client was to come in, for instance, and they have migraines, I would feel like a pressure in my head. And that's how I.
Do you?
Was it always like that?
Get rid of their migraines?
I'm sorry?
Do you help them get rid of their migraines?
Yeah, I just give them advice. I can't get rid of it because I'm not a doctor, so I'm not licensed.
Well, I just go chook and they're gone. So that's my thing.
Migraines is his thing.
Really? Oh, yeah. Funny, I would bring that up. So
he causes them and then he gets rid of them.
Most people can't understand it, but yeah.
So for the medical intuitive, though, was that always something that went alongside the psychic medium?
Also after.
Okay.
When I felt more confident in that, I would say, maybe a few years back.
Okay, so that's a little bit newer than the psychic medium work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely something I didn't have as a child, but I think just like, with working with the clients on a daily basis.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
I come from a spiritual background.
Yes.
Most mediums I know have a problem with identifying themselves as a psychic medium. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of distinguish the two separate modalities, basically? I mean...
It's just natural for me. I have a very unique way of reading.
When you're reading for Kathy...
Yeah.
Are you tapping into her psychically, or are you being a medium?
Both.
So the psychic energy is more like just the kind of like seeing the future, seeing what's going on around them, and then like the mediumship is like this the loved ones that's around the person, yes. And that's how they come through.
And I incorporate both in my clients' readings.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
And because you do it professionally, I'm assuming it works.
Yes. I do a lot of phone readings too. I'm an internationally known psychic medium, so I do a lot of phone readings. I have clients in Japan, England, one in Ghana.
How did they hear about you?
All word of mouth.
Sorry.
That's okay.
My business grew because of word of mouth.
That's the best way to get business.
Are you on Facebook and other things?
Yes. Now with like the introduction of social media and everything, absolutely.
Right, so do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a website?
I have a website and I have a Facebook page.
How do people find you? We may as well bring that up while we're talking about it.
They'll usually find me through social media, but my clients...
Specific address,
okay.
How'd they find you?
You mean like physical
right
address?
Down, yeah.
8 Highland Street. West Warwick.
So do
No,
you have,
on
do
the
you have a
computer.
website? Do you have a Facebook page?
Website, okay. It's enlightenedri.com.
Okay. And do you have a specific Facebook page though for Enlightened RI?
Just Enlightened RI.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that's how people can find you to make an appointment with you.
That are readings by Lisa. That was always
Say that again slow.
readings by Lisa.
Oh,
So
Is that another website though, or is that a Facebook page?
just through Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
Now,
All right. So you
out
have
of
two Facebook
curio-
pages.
Mm-hmm.
we don't have a lot of medical intuitives. I know very few of them. I know hundreds of
Mediums.
whatever, psychics, mediums. They're not, some of them, somebody might be one but not the other, or vice versa. But the medical intuitives, we don't have a lot of them running around. Very few of them, actually. I only know of half a dozen, I guess. Have you ever gotten remotely interested in healing?
Absolutely. I just don't want to do Reiki.
Okay.
Well, Reiki's
So
for
there's
beginners.
different modalities though for that though.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. It's more, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I'm helping the person by giving them the information.
Yeah, you're putting them in the right direction.
Yeah, and then kind of pointing them in the right direction.
So
you know.
it's not a heal that person thing. It's more like, okay, this is how you can heal yourself, or go find somebody that can heal you.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, that's kind of neat.
Absolutely. You know, like if I pick up on a client that has stomach issues and it's, you know, I would say like my intuition would tell me that this is gluten allergies, or sometimes it's like I can feel it at times. It's really unique. I've had visions come to me as an MRI screen and can see where the issue is. I did have a client once at a group reading that I did, and she had told me that her son had brain cancer, that he was going to be going to Boston Hospital, and she wanted to know if he would make it. And I kept picking up on the whole right side of his brain, that this is where it was. But I kept telling her too to have them check here. And I said, but this isn't, I didn't feel as though it was a tumor or anything. I said, I feel like this is like, I didn't want to like label it, but like MS, or something's pressing on a nerve here, which is causing other physical issues as well. So when I would see it on the screen, I would see it as an area that's yellow with red around it. And that's how it comes to me.
Does this come up when people ask specific questions, or does it just come up natural as you're talking to somebody?
Both. Yeah. But I could be in a reading with you, for instance, and say, you know, I feel as though your sister has knee issues, the left knee. I see her getting surgery on the left knee. She's going to go through rehab just fine. And then I've had some clients that I've said, you know, rehab's going to be a little while, but they're going to be okay. I feel in some ways I've kind of prepared some of my clients for what's coming with certain family members.
Yeah.
So has it come up often though, with the medical intuitive part though, where somebody doesn't know what's going on though, but you can at least point them, like, okay, this is what you got to focus on, and see what's, you know, take the test for that?
Yeah,
That's come up a lot.
I've met a lot of really good doctors. So I believe it or not, I have like business cards for doctors and stuff.
Okay.
So
Just because of what you do, that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'll tell them, you know, certain things. I've had some people ask me, you know, like, what do you think, like, as far as gluten-free, and, you know, and I'll just kind of tell them based on my experience, what I've gone through. It's just like I'm intuitively led to give them that information.
Interesting. Now, there's a lot of people out there that aren't going to know the difference between psychic and mediumship. Give them a 50-cent definition of each, if you would.
So as far as mediumship goes, for me, it's communicating with spirit, people who have passed on, animals that have passed on. As far as the psychic end of it, it's seeing into the future, but also picking up on the present as well.
Have you seen the past for anybody with the
Yeah.
psychic part? Yeah.
And what are you attributing the source of that information to?
I,
You never thought about it.
it's just so natural to me. It's through feeling, it's through energy. I am clairaudient, so I am able to hear. I would say through spirit. I get messages from the other side and can combine that into the reading and give them that information. So to me, it's like they're forewarning my client of, hey, you need surgery, or, you know, something along those lines.
Okay, I'm going to pick on you just for a second.
Okay.
Very gently.
Well, it's not her, but
Okay.
she's got such a unique combination of talents. Here's a question. I meet born-again Christians who swear that anything that I even remotely talk about is demonic. I'm sure you've had one or two walk in your door.
Yeah.
How do you...
I get prayers in my door all the time, actually. They
They pray for me.
how do
They
you-
pray for me. I
I know,
know that.
believe me, you're nothing compared to what I get. But how do you try and convince people of what you're doing that it's a good thing?
I have faith in what I do.
I know that, but how do you convince them that what you're doing is good for them, or is good, period?
Yeah, you work in the white light, though, right? Though, you know,
Yeah.
white light of this
Well,
stuff. Yeah. Well, most
all-
religions
It's
don't
just-
all these
do
lights are
acknowledge that,
white.
though.
It's I would say, really, it's, you know, I'm confident in what I do, and my client sees that.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell them. They
Yeah.
just know.
Well, I guess I meet more extremists than you do.
Yeah.
You know,
I love the
and I
skeptics,
talk
I
about-
do.
and they- well, I have people say, "Oh, mediumship is demonic." I said, "What about Christ? He was a medium."
Absolutely.
Wow, he was the Son of God. But they have to go back 2,000 years to see what the definition of Son of God was 2,000 years ago, and it meant nothing to do with being a son of somebody.
Well, I have a story. When I was having my daughter baptized, I had asked the priest who was smoking a cigarette. You know, he had asked me.
A
He said,
non-sacred use of tobacco.
he said, you know, he's smoking a cigarette, and we were just talking about, you know, the plans and everything for the baptism. And he said, so what do you do for work? And I was like, well, I really just want my daughter baptized, because if I tell you what I do, you might not want to baptize her. And he's like, no, just tell me what you do. And I said, well, I'm a psychic medium. And he said, well, Jesus was a prophet. He said, don't be ashamed of that. So I always felt comfortable with that ever since.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah,
Because
because
he
of
was
that. Yeah.
open-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had some healing work done by an Episcopal priest. And he borrowed techniques from a couple of different things, not just, you know, Catholic things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Christian way for things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, who was it, Father, I guess maybe 20 years ago, there was some Catholic priest, Father DeGurio, out of Worcester, and then somebody else.
Yeah.
And you get talking to these guys, I'm watching how they work, and one of them was using a hypnotic technique. He would talk to them, and at a certain point, he would go shift their head, and that would put them into an alternate mental state, like hypnosis. And then when you find out about the other guy, he went down to South America and studied with the native shaman medicine mediumship guys.
Yeah.
But that never came up to the normal public.
Wow.
That's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, healing is healing no matter what type of technique is used. If your intentions are right.
Yeah, it's all intention. It's at a
Yeah.
certain point, healing is a matter of convincing the person who's being healed to ask for their inner wisdom to heal themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not so much doing it as they are doing it to themselves.
So, how often do you actually get skeptics since we're on this topic, though? Like when people come to you, those like, do they like question what you're saying, what you're doing, or they're pretty easy open to it?
Most are pretty easy and open to it. I always know the skeptic when they walk in the room. Anyways, you know?
Yeah, it's a different energy, right?
Little alarm goes off.
The energy is always like you just feel the wall up. You can see it.
Closed,
Yeah. You know, so they're usually the ones that I go to first. And I've had a lot of people just stand up and say, wow, you know, because I give a name. I like to give details in my readings. I don't like to just be like, well, and I just see this lady standing beside you, and I believe this is your mom. And no, I give names and dates and details. I can visualize like I'm in the actual room that the person passed away in, or I can see the person's house. I can describe their kitchen the way it was, colors, cupboards, like with brass knobs and like.
Is that
cars.
mediumship or psychic?
It's mediumship.
It depends on where it's coming
Because
from.
it's almost as though I'm picking up on the memories of the spirit.
Oh, okay. That's
And
new.
I
I've
see
never heard that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I see everything through pictures. I've described the inside of cars with spirit to my clients, and that's what is unique about the way I do my readings.
Kind of special.
I love it because I've actually said to my clients several times, like, I wish I had a book of fabrics back from the 1970s, 1960s, you know. I can hear, like, for instance, I picked up on a male that had passed. One of my clients' fathers had passed away. I mentioned his name. I could see his watch. I described the watch that he was wearing. It was like a gold Rolex watch, and it had like it had the stretch band. Do you remember the stretch bands that they used to have? Well, I could feel the watch. I could see the watch. There wasn't a time on the watch, but I could just, because I don't think time had anything to do with it. It was more about the validation that this.
Identifying him.
Yes, and that was something that was special about him. And then I described his chair. It was a dark brown recliner, and I could hear ice in the glass. And she just laughed, and she said, yeah, he always had a glass of soda next to him, always had to have a lot of ice right to the top.
So
It's little
the
things
little
like
things.
Yeah,
And that's what gives my
stuff
client
you can't
peace.
make
Okay,
up.
here's another question. These two guys are basically very connected to angels. I haven't heard you mention them yet. Do you deal with angels?
I don't do angel readings. I believe in angels. I have my
Well, I mean, do
Archangel
they come in
Michael
as
bracelet.
spirit form and whatever? If you're giving somebody a reading, does an angel pop in?
Yeah, usually Archangel Michael. Always.
Just one?
He's right on my wall above where I do my readings.
Yeah, he's
That's
the protector
really,
one.
it's more the protective energy.
You've established a working relationship with that particular individual,
Angel.
Yes.
Yeah,
rather than
Archangel.
anybody, you know, these
I'm-
millions of them out there.
I'm not, believe it or not, and this might sound scary to some that, you know, do this kind of work that, that we do. I'm not the one that sits down and puts white light around me. I'm the one that rushes in the door with a cup of coffee and sits down and does a reading. That's just who I
Okay.
am. I'm confident in what I do. I was born this way. I'm not certified in anything. I don't want to be. This is who I am.
You have fun with it?
I do. I do.
It's fun helping people.
How would you suggest that somebody stop? Well, you did it from birth, so that don't count. But the average public may or may not be aware of their gifts. How do we make them aware of them?
Classes and books.
Yeah, classes and books.
And getting some readings from other people, seeing their I learned a lot by going to spiritualist churches and seeing different mediums work.
Yeah, everybody is different. I always say that to my clients who say, I went to this medium and this medium said this. Every psychic and medium, we're all different. Nobody is the same. We all have a unique way of doing readings.
The worst medium in the world will give you a reading that's going to rock your boat like you won't believe.
Yeah.
And then the best one may not be able to tell you anything that's pertinent to you that means something to you.
So what comes up a lot of your readings? Is there like a repeating pattern of like similar topics or similar concerns for clients?
Well, I always have the readings where, they want to know about their love life. I do get some of those readings. But now it's different for everybody that comes in.
Okay.
But the main topic a lot of times is the love life, but when people come in to see me, they want to talk to their loved ones who have passed. And on my sign, my motto to Enlightened is reclaim your inner peace, R.I.P.
I like
Say that
that.
again?
Reclaim your inner peace,
Oh,
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
okay.
So there's not, what I find a lot though too is like, when, because I'm a psychic medium as well too though, so this is a lot of my experiences. A lot of times they're getting told like certain things or by the loved ones or that they need to go in that particular direction.
Right.
And I tell them, it's like, if you don't start doing that though, or, take that advice though, if you come back again though, and when you do, you're gonna get the same message again anyway.
Right.
So do you find that a lot as well though too?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've had a client that I've had to say, remember your parents' relations? Have you worked on that? Because she wants to move forward and she can't till she
Deals with
clears
that, yeah.
the past.
I have a lot of clients that return. They always say, "You're like a therapist. I'd rather go to you than my therapist."
Working with mediums can open many doors
Yeah.
that therapists don't go into.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that.
All right, so we're just about at the end of the episode, the program. So how can people get a hold of you to make an appointment?
They can go to my website, www.enlightenedri.com. You can also reach me at 401-368-3815.
Say that slow.
401-368-3815 or 401-868-5772.
Okay, so there's
And I'm
two
also on
numbers.
Facebook and Instagram too, so
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So it's
And-
mostly in person and over the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and for people that don't know it, mediums don't tell you what to do with your life. They guide you to the things you need to look at to move forward.
What's the best
Absolutely.
path, yeah.
Do you have little people?
Little people, no.
Children? No. I was just
Little
wondering.
people.
No, I was just wondering if they had
No,
gotten
yes.
your gifts, basically.
Yes, my son is 3.5 and my daughter is going to be 9 in April. And they both definitely have the gift. Absolutely.
Do you try and train them at all in it, or just kind of let them go?
I let them go and I embrace it. My daughter asks more questions now because she's at that age, where, she'll ask like what I do. She's very interested in what I do. And she'll ask questions all the time, actually. Every night before bed, she'll tell me like she had a dream. She'll mention the dream and ask me what it meant.
How old is she?
She's 8. She'll
Oh,
be 9 in
okay.
April.
I thought 2.5.
My son's 3.5, and he looks right through people. Like, he's got soulful eyes.
Yeah, he's a gifted child already, you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, very gifted.
How would you suggest you make children aware of these possibilities?
Well,
I mean, assuming that the parents aren't like yourself.
so this is a hard question, and here's what. My daughter told me when she was 3 that she was in a burning building. And so I
Past
knew
life.
it was a past life. So I said, oh, okay. I just kind of because she's 3, how do I explain it to her? It came up again at 3.5. It came up again at 4. And now I notice she will walk into a room, she looks for all the fire alarms, hates fire alarms, but will look for them in a room. Watches them sometimes on YouTube, I think, to try to get rid of that feeling of being scared. But I can tell with her it's a memory. It's something she went through in a past life.
If there's things that you could help her do, if she could reconnect to that, and once she connects to it, it'll
Yeah.
go away.
She probably has to be a little older to
It
absorb
might be
it.
too much at
It's-
9.
But once once she becomes aware of why she's connecting to it,
Yeah.
just knowing it's there will make it dissipate.
Yeah, like maybe explain to her, like, it's like, this is what happens before, though you're okay now. But, I mean, she's
Yeah.
kind of young to understand
This
that
isn't-
too.
It's-
Yeah,
Your reality.
Yeah.
yeah. So stuff like that, the past life memories can be tough sometimes, though. They get kind of filtered in.
With kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with kids, though, because they remember better.
Yeah. I mean, my son, too, we were going to Williamsburg, Virginia. We went to wake him up that night because we were leaving at 2 in the morning. And he woke up and he said, I was in a horse and carriage. And that was all, Pennsylvania, Virginia, all of that, very connected to that place. Mm-hmm. It almost seemed like he was in his element when we were there.
Uh-huh.
And he talks about it all the time. He wants to go back, even at 3.5. So
Yeah, that's a past life, though, for sure.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yep.
A comfortable one.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool
A
to
happy
take
one.
him through historical Williamsburg, knowing that he possibly was, and seeing all the horse and carriages there
Or at least in that similar setting.
in a past life. Yeah.
I was in the Civil War, and I was down in I was a Virginia artilleryman. And I was down in Virginia, and I was standing there, and I had a book of matches in my pocket, and all of a sudden they just flared up.
Wow.
Just standing there with, the matches came on fire.
Wow.
Strange.
Did you have a reading, though, where a past life did come up, though, for somebody?
Yeah, here and there. I never really got into
The
past life. Yeah, it's tough for me for some reason. I think because I like to have
Something tangible?
some sort of detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me. But
Something based in reality.
we do house cleansings too. So I do house cleansings and everything, and that's really interesting too.
Hey, what's the most interesting of the house clearing?
It's removing the blocks that are in the house.
What's the-
Helping the client clear out the house. And we bring faith into that as well.
Do you?
We used to have you want to say something? No, shut up then.
Do you ever find that you can help people when you've done the clearing to make sure they don't bring stuff back?
Yes. And
That's
I
important.
I use Archangel Michael through that's when I work with angels
Yeah.
mostly, is in my house cleansings.
He's great for clearing.
Yes.
What's the toughest experience that you had with the house clearings? I know there's quite a few stories with that in itself.
The toughest experience I had, actually a woman came in for a reading. I had talked to her about one side of the house that I kept getting that there was a house fire. And I saw a Ouija board that was brought into this. And she said, don't say any more to me. I'm going to bring my mother in. So she made an appointment. She came back the following week. Her mother was burned from head to toe. She talked to me about the Ouija board. She said, a friend of mine, when we were in our 30s, we used to play with the Ouija board. And half the side of the house burned down with her in it. She managed to survive it. Well, when we went to the house, people were getting pushed down the stairs. Somebody killed themselves in the
Sounds like
house.
somebody opened up a portal.
People were like planting curses in the garden, So and it was just old, the mother was saying, I go out there every night at midnight and I get a peach off the tree. And I eat the peach and I get sick. And she said, it's like I'm drawn to it. And I knew right then and there, whatever was planted in that garden created the problems in the house. So the entire property had to be cleared, really. And I said, basically when you cleanse a house, it's like lifting everything up and,
It brings it to the surface.
And they all moved out a month later. People would get falling down the stairs. It was just I was talking to spirit in the house.
The extreme opposite of that, one of the gentlemen that used to be on this show, Scott Brown.
I love Scott Brown.
he's-
He's wonderful.
He's one of the better people in the state
Yeah,
with knowledge and abilities.
yeah.
But he told the story many years ago of going into a house that people felt was haunted. And as he's standing there, he's looking at an old Italian couple come walking in and sit down at the table and start to have their meal. This was their house.
Yep.
So they're not there badly. It was just what they were comfortable with.
Yep.
And
It's from that era.
people
too.
say, well, can you use holy water?